Pledge.
Pledge allegiance
To the
to the
flag
flag
of the United States of
of
America
America, United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Wiltshire.
Here.
Mr. Fortier.
Here.
Mr. Carbano. Miss Carbano, I'm sorry. Here. Mr. Crockett.
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Manero. Here. Thank you.
Did I say I was here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Is this thing on?
Well, you have to push the button. Yeah, you're on. You're on. Your light's there.
It is on.
Can I get approval of the minutes? Anybody want to do a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Excuse me a minute, it's not as presented, I have a correction for you.
Well, what actually happens is you
I'm
have to
sorry.
make a motion, then there has to be a second, and then under discussion, all your
Okay.
corrections go. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I make a motion.
Second. Somebody has to second it. Second. Okay, discussion. Go ahead.
I just had one little thing, Janet. Under item number 4, down where it says a motion to approve, seconded by, you've got Mr. Paris, and it should be Ms., I guess. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
With that correction, roll call. That's how it's done.
Mr. Manero.
Yes.
Mr. Crockett.
Yes.
Ms. Carbano.
Yes,
Mr. Fortier.
Yes.
Mr. Wiltshire.
Yes.
Announcements? Anything, Wayne? I don't. Announcements?
sir. No.
Anything?
Nothing new under old
Okay.
business.
All right. New business. Wayne, do you want to start with that?
So under new business, we're here tonight to talk about the certificate of competency. This is in the matter of Mr. Johnny J. Johnson, doing business as J. Johnson Construction Incorporated. Mr. Johnson is seeking board approval to obtain a certificate of competency as a concrete specialty contractor. What's unique about his application is he has not tested before. He was actually grandfathered in St. Lucie County. He's been a contractor a long time. He has gotten certifications as contractor in Indian River County, St. Lucie County, City of Port St. Lucie, Orchid, and Fort Pierce. What I outlined in your agenda is the applicable code sections that would apply to this situation. The first being the purpose, section 26-162. It's intent of the council that in order to safeguard the life and health property of public welfare of the citizens, the business of construction and home improvements is a matter affecting public interest, and any person engaging in such business shall be required to establish his competency and qualifications as provided in the article. Second section is 26-161, definitions under specialty contractors are those who specialize in one or more crafts of the building, construction, and related contracting trades, whose scope is less than the contractors defined above, which would be general contractors and building contractors, and is limited under the certificate of competency issued by the board to such specialty contractor. It goes on to say that all specialty contractors whose trade is tested by Prometric Services or other comparable testing agency must take such examination, receive a passing score of 70% on the exam for their trade, which is administered by the testing agency. Under 26-165 certification procedures, the applicant shall submit an application in writing to the construction board, which he has done. Section B, as a prerequisite of the issuance of the certificate, the board shall require licensed holder submit satisfactory evidence he has obtained public liability insurance for the following amounts. And it'd be under number 2, not less than 50,000 property insurance, not less than 100,000 personal liability insurance. He has met that criteria. And then lastly, the section 26-166, certificates issued by reciprocal agreement. The board may, by reciprocity, grant a certificate of competency to any applicant who has obtained a certificate of competency in any other county or city in the state having codes and conducting examinations which are, in the opinion of the board, substantially equal to those of the city. Upon the applicant furnishing proof of insurance coverage required hereunder and payment of the application fee herein provided, and furnishing to the board in writing all information required by 26-165, certificates issued through the reciprocity shall be subject to all other provisions of this article. Excuse me. So in your packet also is Mr. Johnson's letter to the board. The letter of reciprocity we received from St. Lucie County, which back when he was approved in 1990, they only required 2 years of experience in his or her trade. He has had no complaints on record. And again, all of the other backup is Indian River County approval. We have, let's see, I'm sorry. Basically what I said before, Indian River County, Town of Orchid, St. Lucie County, City of Port St. Lucie, and Fort Pierce, City of Fort Pierce. So Mr. Johnson is here for any other questions of the board that may have.
Go ahead, sir.
I got a question for Wayne.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm just goofy or not, but I didn't see anything in here about Mr. Johnson having a license or asking for a license here in Sebastian.
No, sir. He's
never been
requesting a
licensed
license here. He's trying to get a license here through reciprocity.
Reciprocity,
I understand. Okay. I just didn't, I don't hear good.
which we have the autonomy to do if we think the background is
Yeah.
enough.
So I think the board's task is to figure out whether what he has for what he has done in other jurisdictions meets our criteria for competency in this jurisdiction, that we can give him reciprocity.
I noticed in his information here, it seems to me he was grandfathered in to these places.
Correct.
Grandfathered from where?
Well, grandfathering meaning he did not have to take an exam.
Okay, so he went through all the process, he just didn't have to take an exam.
Right. Back at the time that he got his license, he did not have to take an exam. But in
Okay.
our code, it talks about, when it talks about granting certificate of competency for reciprocity, that
Well,
you
we
have
can-
to take the exam and get a passing score of 70. So this is a unique situation where he's already a contractor, he was not required to take an exam. So even though our code says that, he's here before the board, so the board to decide whether he meets the criteria to be a contractor here in the city of Sebastian.
He goes pretty far back, all the way to 83 in one thing I saw,
Yeah.
so he's been around a while.
I'm sure he can
Yeah,
tell
he's
you
been in
more.
business over 30 years without any problems at all. So
That's
he-
what the letter of reciprocity says, there's been no complaints.
Correct. That's what I read too.
I mean, I would say that, in my opinion, Mr. Johnson's probably the most qualified concrete person in this room, hands down. His experience is impeccable, and he's got an excellent record, so.
And he has 3 licenses, or three different places. Is he asking for reciprocity for all 3?
And again, Mr. Johnson is here, and he can clarify that matter, but his application said that he was only looking to get
Concrete
the
specialty.
concrete specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a concrete specialty contractor,
Right, but we have a
He's a
concrete
carpenter,
specialty license and a
and he's
masonry
a
license.
masonry guy.
Right. I mean, if the board chooses, you know, we can give him both. We have two categories for licensure, masonry and concrete placing. So, I mean, if you feel that if he wants both, you know, we can certainly give him both if the board sees fit.
Can we hear from Mr. Johnson if that's what he's looking for?
Yeah, we can ask.
Because that's not what it
He's
says here. so.
I'm sorry, what?
Can Mr. Johnson say exactly what he wants, whether he wants the 2 licenses? Because that's not what he's saying
Well, in his
here.
letter to the board, I think he was asking for,
He just wants the concrete specialty.
Concrete specialty,
contractor.
all I saw. But that's a little confusing.
but we can include the masonry if that's what he wants.
Because he has licenses for carpentry and
Right,
masonry.
he's had all 3 in other
all 3,
jurisdictions.
so
He's had
I think
concrete,
that's what only
masonry,
thing I'd
and
like to
carpet.
ask is if he's looking for all 3 or just the one.
I think Mr. Johnson needs to weigh in on that because that's not what he's requesting here.
Right.
Ask him to step forward.
Did you want to step forward, Mr. Johnson?
I can hardly hear you. Can I come to the?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the question is, because what it looks like here is you just want the concrete specialty contractor license. Is that correct?
I want the concrete, the carpentry, and
And the masonry? Okay.
See, in Silver County, they have the concrete and the masonry together.
Okay.
Now, in 1982, I went before the board and told them that I wouldn't be doing them 20-story buildings and all that no more. And I had them to drop it down to a 3-story building because I was, you know, so that's when I changed this down to this. And I did a lot of work out there. The first houses were put in Orchid Island out there. I did all the concrete work and all that for the guy from out at the carpenter, the contractor from Atlanta, Georgia, he did Orchid Island down there and stuff. I did work for the city of Vero Beach and stuff, so I'm very, very proficient in my work and stuff, and I like to see if y'all approve this because I don't want to be like the rest of my out there doing it and then get in trouble. And so I thought I'd explain that to you about that, you know.
So you're pouring decks, right? You're pouring decks on buildings and all?
I didn't hear what you said.
Are you pouring decks on buildings?
Are you pouring concrete slabs? Are you doing block? You're doing all that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The only thing I would say that if we do that, we would need to get letter of reciprocity from St. Lucie County for those other trades, the masonry and the carpentry, the letters of reciprocity. Indian River County did that same thing. They have 2 letters, one for the concrete, one for the masonry. Addressed to the city of Sebastian?
I think so.
Okay, great.
So when we talked with Mr. John, when he was up there, he talked about the specialty concrete license as well as masonry. He didn't mention carpentry, I don't think, but you
At
did.
the time, no, he did not. I mean, the letter we got for reciprocity from St. Lucie County only mentions the concrete specialty.
Right, but
So-
you had just mentioned the 3 that he.
What I said before was, if he wants all 3, you
Right.
could ask him if he does, which he just said he does. We can do that if the board allows him to.
Okay.
The only thing we need is the letters of reciprocity from St. Lucie County, who gave him
Right.
the original license.
I
So,
just didn't hear the carpentry.
That's
I
it.
didn't hear him say that, but okay.
Pretty sure you just said it.
Okay.
If I may, I have to correct that because, let me set up again. Because doing that. Speak up here. Let me talk. On the letter of reciprocity, they had given to me, but then they found out that they supposed to mail these in because I don't supposed to put my hand on them. They supposed to mail them directly to them, to the building department.
Right.
They have to open it up.
Yeah, they mail it.
I don't, that, a conflict of interest if I put my hand on it. So it has to come from the building, St. Lucie County, directly to him.
And we'll work that out after the meeting.
Motion to accept it.
Well, I think the motion to, and I can't make it, but the motion should be to go ahead and, with the proper letters of reciprocity, go ahead and approve the three specialty licenses, which would be carpentry, masonry, as well as concrete.
That pending receipt of reciprocity letters?
Yeah, I started with that in the motion, yep.
Okay.
That the proper reciprocity letters, which means it has to be mailed to the building department.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that effect, that we grant the, Mr. Johnson the 3 licensings that he currently has in St. Lucie County, I guess. We grant him those same licenses here in Sebastian upon receipt of the reciprocity letters from where, Wayne, we come from St. Lucie?
St. Lucie County.
Yeah, it's St. Lucie.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Call the vote. Ms. Gentleman.
Ms. Carbano?
Yes.
Mr. Welcher?
Yes.
Mr. Manera?
Yes.
Mr. Crockett?
Yes.
Mr. Fortier?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Congratulations. Moving on, building official matters. Wayne.
Excuse
Okay.
me, Wayne.
Yes.
Could we just let Mr. Johnson go if he doesn't?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're free to go and, give me 1 second, please. So,
I actually thought he was going to leave, but
I appreciate y'all taking consideration for me.
thank you for coming out.
All right.
And thanks for doing it the right way.
All right.
Serious.
okay, I wanted to make a little presentation here to the board tonight. And the reason for this is we're proposing an ordinance modification, and this has to do with the section 42 of, or chapter 42 of the City Code of Ordinances for Fire Prevention and Protection. So just to back up a little bit so everybody understands, so the Fire Prevention Office was created here in the city of Sebastian, formerly done by Indian River County. And this is for the plan review and inspections aspect of it, but there's also other duties such as annual inspections and special events that are now under the Fire Prevention Office in Sebastian. It was first established in 2018. I was appointed the fire marshal for the city. I'm certified as a fire inspector, and we also have a contract with private provider that gives us help when we need it for the larger projects. There are things that require more expertise and a second set of eyes, and we use those people as needed. They come in and from various areas, from Melbourne all the way down to Dade County. We've had a number of fire officials up here that are helping us out. So that's just a little bit of background as to where we are right now, why we're talking about fire prevention. So there is a code, 26197 in City Code of Ordinances. It talks about City Council, it talks about this board advising City Council on matters affecting contractors or the construction industry. So while this is not really either one of those, it sort of is. This has to do with systems that are in place after their certificate of occupancy has been issued. And this is about maintenance and testing of those systems. Since we're the fire prevention office, and we're the local authority having jurisdiction over these types of matters. This is, just to clarify, it's not new installations. Of course, we inspect and all of that for new installations. This is after the CO has been issued, and that's when the testing and maintenance process begins. So I do have a PowerPoint presentation here that hopefully will clarify these points. Sorry. Okay. So again, the purpose of this ordinance amendment is the proposed ordinance amendment addresses the reporting requirements for the testing and maintenance of all engineered fire and life safety systems. And these systems are fire sprinkler systems, fire alarm, fixed fire protection systems, and any other types of fire protection systems. So these reports will be submitted to the Fire Prevention Office through a web-based designed electronic fire inspection reporting system. So a little bit of background on this. The owners of commercial properties are responsible by code for compliance with the Florida Fire Prevention Code to properly maintain and test any engineered fire and life safety systems. So the maintenance and testings of these systems are done by certified third-party agencies. The owners are required to keep records of the maintenance and testing reports. These are typically, your fire sprinkler contractors, fire alarm contractors. Those are the ones that are certified to be able to do the maintenance and testing as well. So submitting the testing and maintenance reports performed by third-party agencies to the jurisdiction through a web-based system ensures the maintenance and testing is being performed as required and alerts the Fire Prevention Office of any deficiencies that may need correction. So when deficiencies are found, the Fire Prevention Office will work with the owners of the properties to ensure deficiencies are corrected in a timely manner and thereby assure that the fire and life safety system will function properly in the event of an incident. If anybody has any questions along the way, just feel free to stop me. So basically, before I move on, just to recap here. So any owner of a commercial business that has a fire alarm system, a fire sprinkler system, a hood system, fire hydrants, if it was a private fire hydrant, they all require testing and maintenance by the code. And some of it's more frequent than others. And basically, these things are getting done, and the only time that the Fire Prevention Office would know whether it's being done or not is through an annual inspection. So you could go out on an annual inspection and maybe everything is okay, but maybe a month or two later they have their testing done and all of a sudden a valve's not working or an enunciator's not working or smoke detector, something is not working. That could really go unchanged until someone brings it there to the owner's attention again. So potentially months could go by without anything, no one ever really knowing whether this has to be done. These reports are by the third-party contractors. They do report it and they give it to the manager typically or the management team, wherever they may be. But if that actually trickles down to getting somebody to actually out there to repair it and make the necessary changes. So that's kind of what we're talking about. This is early detection, making sure that these things are getting fixed if they need to be fixed. And through a web-based system, we'll know right away. We'll get the reports. We'll know if there's a problem, if there isn't a problem. And it'll help us with our annual inspection abilities, since we have a small staff, and being able to go out and ensure that these systems are being kept up to date.
Does that also include on-site fire extinguishers? Do they
Through this
approve
system,
those?
no. Through the system that we're anticipating to use, no. With fire extinguishers, honestly, they're too mobile. They just hang on the wall. It'd be pretty hard to monitor those. They do need to be checked annually, but that would be something we would get more of it in an annual inspection. Too hard to monitor. I mean, you can move one extinguisher from one spot to another too easily. These are more like fixed fire protection systems.
You can handle that, couldn't you?
Sorry?
You can handle that.
Yes.
Question. Okay, so the third-party company, which I assume would be your fire sprinkler company, your fire
Right.
alarm company, they go ahead and submit the reports of what they find on the quarterlies or the annuals.
Right.
They put it on that web-based system, that goes to you.
Right.
What do you do with it?
Well, so then I'm going to continue on here, but what we do with it, we review the reports. Through the system, we have an ability to send out a notification to the owner saying, hey, there's a problem here. You have 45 days to correct this problem. What we've been doing, and the ones we've received, we've been going out there and visiting it, looking at the problem, making sure that, speak to the manager, that they understand what's going on here and why it needs to be corrected.
Because Indian River County started this like a year ago, a little over a year
Yeah.
ago. They have the same thing.
Yes, they're doing
And
it.
then, but then they send the letter out to whoever the managers are, and you get a letter that says, you're not in compliance, you need to,
Right. And this is the same system.
same system.
Right.
Because the way that system works, that the contractor then has to resubmit saying all deficiencies were
Yeah,
corrected.
they should get it
Improve it.
re-inspected.
Okay.
But these third-party agencies have no authority
Right.
to get it, to require it to be fixed.
No, I understand.
You know, so they're there to just report what their findings are, but they really have no authority of saying, you know, they can certainly, they see something bad enough, they should be reporting it to the fire prevention office anyway, if it's really a danger. Some of it's maintenance, some of it's just, you know, small things.
No, I
Other
understand.
things can be, you know, bells not working, enunciation, a valve not working.
I get 'em all
things
the
like
time.
that,
Yeah, I
you know.
understand. Yeah.
It's amazing what you can find. So the benefits behind this are, you know, as I said, early detection is key to life safety. Fire and life safety systems require maintenance and testing to ensure their performance in the event of a fire or incidents. Statistics show that 40% of life safety systems go uninspected or maintained every year. 32.5% of false alarms are due to lack of maintenance and testing. I think those are national numbers. Electronic submittals of third-party reports saves the fire prevention office time and limited resources to conduct annual inspections on commercial properties. Owners of commercial properties with engineer and fire life safety systems should not have any surprises or code violations from the fire prevention office during an annual inspection for faulty systems or poor record keeping, since these reports are coming directly to the fire prevention office. And by far the biggest beneficiary are the city of Sebastian residents and visitors who rely on engineered fire and life safety systems to ensure their safety while working or visiting in our buildings. So achieving life safety compliance, should the city council approve this amendment to the city's fire prevention and protection code, the fire prevention office intends to bring forth a resolution to the city council to partner with a company that will provide this web-based electronic reporting system. The system is currently being used by Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties, along with 7 other counties in the state of Florida. They're also nationwide. They have already established a database for the city of Sebastian. Since Indian River County started using their system some time ago, the process is already taking place throughout the county. The system will provide the owner a 30-day notice that a scheduled inspection is coming, and a past due notice after 45 days have passed if the inspection was not made. The system provides a secure site in which reports can be maintained and provided, an electronic follow-up process for their jurisdiction to use should any deficiencies be found. The system is used across the country. It helps drive 100% compliance with fire and life safety codes. So this is, you know, some jurisdictions, quite honestly, just adopt a policy and start using it. We wanted to be a little more transparent than that, and we wanted to bring it in as part of an ordinance. Again, if the ordinance is approved at second reading, first reading and second reading, we intend to bring in the resolution at that time to introduce the actual program that provides the service. So a little bit about the cost. It is actually free to jurisdictions. The service is free. The payment is made by the third-party vendors to upload the documents. Currently, it's a $15 charge for them to upload that document. The benefit to the company is they get repeat business. They're going to know that this is being watched. They're going to get that quarterly inspection done. You know, they're not going to be called out there and people aren't going to be getting the inspection they're supposed to be getting and things like that. They're going to get repeat business. But it's a small cost, you know, to prevent an incident from happening.
I'm sure it's, I mean, it sounds like it's free for the city, but the third-party vendor is going to transfer that cost to the person that they're working
More
with.
than likely, yes.
Yes.
So could the business owners, like, look up their status through this online?
Sorry, I can't hear you right.
Like, the business owners or someone that owns a building, can they look up the status of their inspection online through the system?
That I don't know for sure, whether they have access to it or not. They certainly would be getting the reports, you know, from the third-party vendors. Whether they, I don't know if, I don't really think that they do would
Not
have
with any
access
River
to it, but I
County,
doubt
no.
it. Yeah. I'm not really 100% sure, but I doubt it. But they would be getting their reports from their vendor. So I guess what I'm looking for tonight is a recommendation to advise city council to approve this amendment.
Can I ask one question?
Fire prevention code.
On new buildings and all, is someone else going to be doing like the plan review and the inspections, or are you going to be doing that? Like on a brand-new building?
I do them in conjunction with our private provider company that we have contract with. So, you know, we're all certified as fire inspectors, and, but we certainly bring in people that when we need them on larger projects, fire alarms, fire sprinklers especially. That's, you know, new construction. This, what we're talking about here, when we talk about third party, we're talking about fire alarm companies, fire sprinkler companies. They're the ones that are doing the testing and maintenance. We have no control who the owner hires. They just have to be certified to do it. All we're asking them to do is upload your report through the system.
So what you need is an approval from us, if we approve it, for the city council.
Yeah, so, you know,
Recommendation.
seeking, in conjunction with that ordinance I talked about before, 26-197, advise city council on matters affecting construction industry or contractors, and this is similar to that. And so, yeah, we wanted to run it past the construction board. We are taking it to council tomorrow night for first reading. I'd like to be able to tell them that construction board approved.
So what we would do is, somebody would make the motion to go ahead and recommend amending the city code ordinance, chapter 42, fire prevention and protection, article 2, fire prevention office, section 42-28, fire safety inspections plan review as presented. Somebody would make that motion.
Or words to that effect,
Can I
right?
ask a question first? Are you actually changing 3 sections technically, because you have a B, and then you're changing B to C and C to D?
Correct. We are inserting a new section B.
Here.
And what was B becomes now C, and what was C becomes
Right,
D.
it just kind of moves.
Thus just changes as it
Yeah.
goes down.
Yeah, because they got a map, so everything kind of cascades down.
And the reason for that is section A has to do with actual annual inspections, so we felt like section B should follow that, where it talks about submitting these reports.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we recommend to the city council that this item B be inserted in the proposed ordinance 020-01, amending ordinance number 019-06. That do it?
You could just reference the ordinance number,
That's what I would
which
do.
is 020-20-01.
Okay.
01, actually. It's confusing. If you want to just say that you move to make a recommendation to council to amend, or recommend the proposed ordinance changes 02001. That's what I would say. That just makes it simple, because everything is included there.
Okay, what he said.
I don't want to make the motion, though. I'm just trying
Somebody's
to.
gonna make the, I
I'm
mean,
just trying
it's,
to.
it's really, you just have to say, we recommend making the changes to 0-20-01 as presented. That's all it has to
Okay.
be.
There you go.
I can't say all that, so we'll just say it's been said, and I make a motion to that extent.
Second. Need a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Fourier?
Yes.
Mr. Cross?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Manera?
Yes.
Mr. Wiltshire?
Yes.
Ms. Carbano?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay, board matters appears to be none. Attorney matters, there appears to be none. 15 minutes to the public, yeah, there's nobody here. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?